Hello and welcome back to the Special Stage Facebook Live page and the Roberts Garage Jersey Rally 2018. As you can see, car 1 has already gone through. This is the first of the dark stages tonight, stage 7, St Bullard. So I've got a little update on some cars that have gone out for you. That was Mark Kelly and Andy Baker, who lost early on. They hit a wall very early in that first stage, so they're out. And we've also lost car 56, Ross and Allison in BMW. They went out earlier. I've seen a picture, looks like some bad front damage, but the crew is absolutely fine. Simon Chapman coming through there. Didn't get a chance to talk to him earlier. You may have heard he was off buying his crew cheese and ham to make sandwiches. I did, however, get to speak to Simon Lenoir. Sadly not on camera, but he was telling me he feels like tyres will be a deciding factor this evening. He's battling with his brother Ross. Ross currently leading the rally, Simon following him in second. Not much between them, maybe 10 seconds. So all to play for those two this evening. And that's our first 4 cars through. So hopefully we'll start getting some timings. We can see how everyone's getting on. That's car 5, Simon Major, and there's Mark II Escort. So he told me earlier that he actually was going to be competing in a different car. It was a last-minute change to the Escort. It's his dad Dick, who is also competing this weekend. Simon has had a lot of success in Mark II Escorts at this rally. And that's the Ford Anglia of Simon Lenoir coming through now. Definitely looking like he's trying. So next, we won't be having car 7 because we know they're not in the rally anymore. So it'd be Robert de Saint-Père. Still not sure if I'm saying his name right. Haven't found anyone to ask about that. He'll be coming through shortly. Lovely. As you can see, most of these cars aren't running historic lights. They're running the more modern lights, which means they can see much better. That's something else Simon Major was saying to me earlier. As he's got older, he's struggled driving in the dark. You do have to consider that it is the narrow lanes. It is hard work. But unfortunately, it means their lights are blinding me, and I'm struggling to see who is coming through. But that should have been Martin Waters. So this is their first run through this stage. St Bullard. They will do it again. It's stage 9 and stage 11 as well. So coming into this stage, it was Ross Lenoir leading the rally, followed by Simon Lenoir. We'd had a bit of a change in third. It had been Darryl up until the previous stage, which had then swapped to Jeremy. There's another one of our class leaders. We caught up with Andy Corner earlier. He's really... but he looks like he's going really well in that Peugeot. Another sibling rivalry there. His brother, Dan, is coming up behind him as well. The cars are coming through now. We're getting a few. We have a couple of times as well for stage 7. So Ross has gone quickest again. 3:51, followed by Darryl Morris. 4:04 and Simon Chapman 4:07. Obviously these times can change, they're not the times, the order can change. The cars haven't been reseeded yet. They'll be reseeded overnight, and they'll restart tomorrow in the positions that they finished in this evening overall in the rally. So this is stage 7. It's just over 3 miles, so it's a nice quick one for them again. Some taking it more steady than others. That was car 14, Ron Allen in his Mark II Escort. Taking it a little bit easier, probably wise. We're lucky this evening because that wind's kept up all day, which has kept the asphalt nice and dry. So there we go, that's car 15. Now we know that's another sibling rivalry there. Neil Cotillard and his brother is seated further down. So it'll be interesting to see how they be expected. But you never know how that could change over the course of the event. So Mark 1, Lyndon Barton. I might have got that wrong there actually, it's very hard to see in the dark. So that was 17, so that's Dan Corner following his brother, that's in the Peugeot 205. Be interesting to see what times he puts in. Puts in this evening. They were fairly close earlier on. Let's see if that continues over the course of the next few stages. That's Ed Fossey, car 18. He is currently leading his class. We had a little chat to him earlier, absolutely loving the event. Maybe a little bit nervous about this evening. He said he hasn't had his best results in the dark, but he's got a very experienced co-driver with him. Will said he's got every faith in him. He said he's behaving himself, which is always good to hear. It's nice to hear a co-driver's got faith in the driver. So that's the Mazda MX-5 of Dale Crosley. Looking nice and confident coming through here. Bit of a bigger gap here. It's harder to hear the cars coming. Oh. Another Mark II Escort, that's Stuart Fossey. Looking good coming through there. So the time started coming through quickly and now they seem to have slowed down a little bit. And if they are to be believed, we have a change of leader, but I'm going to wait a few minutes before I say that. That's 22, James Nichols in that Peugeot 205 GTI. The Peugeots look really good here. It's been really nice to see so many of them out and pedalled so well. Ooh. And that is what can easily happen in a Mark II. A little bit of an overshoot there, and as you may have heard, I know myself I would, and quite a few people here did as well. Maybe the tyres aren't warm enough yet. Pushing a little bit too much. So that's Steve Ellis, 25. Perhaps going a little more tentatively. So as they come around this corner, they go uphill. So they do have to keep the momentum going out, so they lose a bit too much pace coming up here. So the times have changed. They've sorted themselves out a bit. So I think we can... So at the moment, the lead is still Rosanoa. He was faster than his brother Simon by 5 seconds on this stage. And hot on Simon's heels is Jeremy Bowder. Just been told how to say his name and I'm still not sure I'm saying it right. He did a 3:58 to Simon's 3:56. In fourth place, Daryl Morris is still there. He did a 4:04, so perhaps a little bit slower than he would have liked to hold that fourth place at the minute though. But then Simon Major, 4:04.7, so there's not much in those two at all. Must have been some... I think there's been a bit of a confusion on the timesheets are taking a little bit of time to update. That's why I was reluctant earlier to say what the result was that I was seeing. I know a few of you are saying in the comments you've seen the same. So we're getting down the field a bit further now. That's car 31, Martin Pallett in the BMW E30. Looked like he was going well. So the two Simon Major and Simon Chapman are taking that fight for 5th and 6th to each other at the minute. There's not much in it, 2 seconds. Not even 2 seconds, 1 second. So we'll see how that progresses over the weekend. Both of them very experienced over here, both in very different cars. So we've got a time for Andy Corner. Remember I said he was leading the front wheel drive 2 class. I spoke to him earlier. 4 minutes 8 on this first run through this stage. Haven't got any other times for his class yet, so we'll see how that compares when Dan gets a time. Oh, which he's just got. So Dan did it in 4 minutes 13, so Andy's looking quite comfortable there at the minute. Having a look at some of the other classes. So Simon Chapman's still leading Class E with Jim Munden and Nick Eccles behind him. And Simon Major, Daryl Morris is leading Class C with Simon Major behind him. So there are some good battles going on in the classes as well. There's not much between those two. Just the times are not quite right, so I'm not going to say anything yet. So we'll keep an eye on those and keep an eye on the action on screen as well. That was 35, so that was Chris. Remember, Chris is taking the battle to his brother Neil. He looked fairly confident coming through there in his dad's Subaru Impreza, so we'll see how he gets on. I can only imagine how hard it is to drive in the dark. These guys will be getting into it, getting a feel for it, and obviously it's got quite a lot darker since the first cars came through as well, which will make a difference. So Michael Keane and Katie Sanders, now they are in... They are in their Clio. They are second now in front wheel drive 2. So they were just...
You get that car out of there now, please.
As you can see, safety is very important here. Just trying to sort out a little issue that they're having. So that's car 38, David Edmonds and Dominic Jeans in the Mitsubishi Evo. So they're a UK crew as well. Woohoo! So that's another Subaru Impreza, David Longfellow. I think before he came through really close to one of the other cars. So they're obviously sorted that out now. The gaps are very regular here. No one seems to be catching each other at the minute. Although there is a bigger gap here, having said that. It's in the next car. Here we go. Here's the next one. That's that little Twingo. Car 40, Kevin Newman, Simon Cowley in the Twingo. Again, they've come over from the UK. Woo, that's car 41. That's another Peugeot. Paul Tribert. So we've got a few more times coming in. Let's have a look what we've got here. So, Class C, obviously our leader is Daryl Morris, and then we've got Simon Major. Followed by John Lebrun. And then a bit further down the field, we've just had a time for Simon Tyson and Paul Morris. They're climbing up in class a little bit. They're up to 7th now. They were 10th in class earlier. Another bit of a bigger gap in between these two cars. Not sure why. There's many people here. I don't know if you heard just then, there's people cheering their friends on. That's the Darien. Yeah, so that's the Darien. Still don't know why the driver's got a strange entry name. I only saw them coming into service earlier, whilst we were trying to do some interviews and stuff. So hopefully we'll catch up with them tonight or tomorrow. As we said, it's difficult to do interviews in service, and it's always hard to interview everyone. So we will try and get more drivers, more co-drivers later on and tomorrow. We're going to force them to talk to us by standing at the end of the stage, because when you tell them they're going to be on Facebook Live, they are not necessarily very keen. Next time I'm not going to give them time to think about it. So Chris Cotillard now has a time as well for this stage. So he did a 4:29 compared to his brother Neil Cotillard, who did a 4:13. So, you know, as we said, still got a little bit more to go, but yeah, he obviously is enjoying himself, which is the most important thing. So we're up to car 47 now, so that's Dave Smith. So we have a little look at that four-wheel drive class. So we've still got Simon Chapman leading it. Second, Jim Munden. Third, Neil Cotillard. And fourth, Chris Cotillard. So Chris is just behind his brother in the places. Behind Chris is Chris Lechevet. He's just on a 4:41 through this stage. There's another slightly bigger gap as we wait for the next car to come through. But we're more than halfway through now, I think. More than halfway through the field. We've only lost 2 cars as far as we know, which is not bad going. For this event, as I said before, it's an endurance event. We seem to lose a lot of competitors over the weekend. And that's what Simon Major was saying to me earlier. He's done this rally many times. He's just pootling around this weekend, so he says. That's a Honda Civic of Greg Kelly, car 48. Look like he's not taking any risks there. So we now have a time for Kevin Newman in that Renault Twingo. 5:06 through there, and they're in Class B. So it looks like they're at the top. They are second in Class B after Ed Fossey. Ed is way up the results at the minute, but he has had a fantastic season, lots of experience going into this event. That was a nicely through there, nice and tidy. Keeping the cars coming now. So a few more results coming in. Also, Paul Trabert has actually now gone into second in Class B. And he's in the Peugeot as well. So let's have a look at those times. They aren't that close. There's quite a bit in it, especially in the overall times. But as we keep saying, it's a long event. Car 54, that's Dick Major. Obviously has a few cars as he's managed to lend his son Simon one early for the event last minute after Simon's car didn't work out for this one. So that's a Subaru Legacy of Kevin Jeffrey. He's another crew from the UK. So next would have been Ross and Allison, but we know that sadly they're out. So they went out. I've seen a picture. It looks like front damage. Looks like they probably hit something, but I can't say because it was on Allison's Facebook and she didn't say specifically what it was. So we're starting to get the times now for stage 8. I might let them settle a bit because of last time. They weren't quite coming through in the right order, so we might give it a few minutes. So the next stage that they're doing is stage 8, Le Rossignol. That's a bit further than this one. That's 4.3 miles. So it's a mile further. But the times for the top few are looking pretty quick through there as well. So we're waiting. So we've got the top 3 times. Well, the first 3 cars have times for stage 8. I'm not sure if that's intentional or if he has friends here. It's car 60, giving everyone a bit of entertainment. So it's looking like Ross is still the fastest man out there. He's gone through stage 8, 4 minutes 35. But we know we need to wait for his brother, who should be getting a time any minute. Because he's seated a bit further down, he's car 6. Another bit big of a gap. Always slightly unnerving when you're waiting and watching. So cars have started going into stage 8. So when they've done stage 8, they'll come back, they'll do this stage again. So we'll probably see what we saw earlier on. The second loop, much quicker.
Who's that?
My brother.
Is it?
Yeah.
Doing all right?
He's gone for a set of pads already.
He's doing alright.
Has he done it before?
He's 2 places. No, it's his first rally.
Is it?
2 places ahead of Hinton, which I think he's pleased about. Because Hinton's done a few laps.
Oh! So you may remember that particular Peugeot from the last stage that we live streamed. Came around a bit crazy. What happened on that stage was he'd had a spin, trying to make up time, bit of red miss. So that's car 61, John Aberell in Peugeot. Yeah, he came through very fast as last time. Not necessarily particularly tidy. So we're just still waiting on some times. There is a little bit of concern for car 4, Jeremy Boda, who was running really well, but he hasn't actually got a time for stage. So we'll have to wait and see. That might just be a little bit slow like it was last time. I think we were slow getting a time for Ross last time. But we do have a time for Ross, time for Daryl and time for Simon Chapman. So Ross, 4:35, Daryl, 4:48 and Simon Chapman, 4:48. I don't know how they're doing that, matching times. but makes for some exciting rallying. Simon Major also has a time. He's in 4th at the minute. So Simon Chapman has actually overtaken him, because after the last stage he was in front of him. And Martin Waters has also got a time for stage 8. He's got 5:06. And we've also got a time for Andy Corner, leading the front wheel drive 2 class, 6:26 in stage 8. So that seems to be fairly slow for him, actually. Maybe would have expected him to be a little bit closer to the pace of the cars in front. So that's car 69. So that's Sam Lamy. Co-driver Ben Mason in the Peugeot 205. They're a local crew. They're in that front wheel drive 2 class as well. So we now have a time for Simon Lenoir. He's jumped up above Simon Chapman. He did a 5:31 in that stage. So he's a minute off the pace of Ross. Well, less than a minute, but quite a big difference there. They were much closer than that before. So at the minute we have our rally leader, Ross Lenoir. He did a 4:35 through stage 8. Closely-ish, followed by Daryl Morris, who did a 4:48. But the other crews seem to be off the time a little bit, apart from Simon Chapman, who also managed to do a 4:48. So Neil Cotillard's got a time now as well for stage 8, did a 4:55. So he's hunting down Simon Chapman in front. There's that little Mini. Car 74. The Mini of Kevin Shales. So we now have a time for Dan. Dan Corner went faster than Andy in that stage. So the sibling rivalry is hotting up there. Dan has actually managed to overtake him. So you can't help but wonder if Andy must have had a problem. I did say his time seemed slow. Dan did a 5:01, Andy did a 6:25. Ed Fossey's through. He's got a time, 4:51. Another one up there in the 4 minutes. There's been a few less of those this time round. I think he'll be pleased with his pace. When I spoke to him earlier, he couldn't believe on the second loop he'd taken so much time out of his first time on the same stage. But it just shows what happens when you know the stages. He and his co-driver recce'd and they've done their notes, but obviously when you've been around it once at rally pace, it's very different to a recce pace. But our top 3 at the minute are Ross Lenoir, Daryl Morris and Simon Lenoir. So Simon has actually dropped down a place there. Not sure why that is, but I'm sure we'll be able to find out later. We'll see. Hopefully, he'll have a time for stage 9. And if not, we'll know that he's got a problem. Or if his times continue to be slow, hopefully we'll be able to get some more information for you and find out. But that could be just be a duff time. He might have had a spin or something in this stage at some point. So Jim Munden, who's competing with Simon Chapman, they're the top 2 in Class E. He did a 5:14 in that stage. And that is the last car through this stage. That's the last car through stage 7. So we're now getting times for stage 8. And what we're going to do is we're going to head to our next location, get you guys a different angle, see if we can find out any gossip on the way,